unit. This is unit number 4. So we are having total 11 points in unit number 4. So these are competitiveness of Indian manufacturing, manufacturing performance and planned strategies of Indian manufacturing firms, then survey on world-class manufacturing readiness of Indian firms, manufacturing objectives and strategies, then usage of management tools and technologies, manufacturing management practices, IT infrastructure and practices, then the manufacturing strategy intent framework, strategic use of IT in Indian manufacturing, classification of breadth of IT infrastructure and depth of manufacturing applications, and classification by breadth and integration of IT infrastructure. So we'll first talk about the competitiveness of Indian manufacturing. India is undertaking path-breaking reforms in its industrial sector. Its manufacturing sector registered a growth rate of 8% per annum during the 1980s. This was considered to be very respectable considering the statistically significant decline the sector had been registering in the mid of 1960s. One of the reasons for this may be attributed to the liberalization process initiated by Government of India in early 1990s. One of the major objective for which was to raise the growth performance of industrial sector by removing various constraints, especially the requirement of industrial license. However, on the global competitiveness level, India had an overall objective or overall rating of 45 out of 53 countries in 1997, which slipped to 50 in 1998. Now, the basic question arises here when we are going to talk about the competitiveness of Indian manufacturing. So, how competitive are the Indian manufacturing firms when we are considering the entire worldwide scenario? Today's competitive environment is very different when compared to the past. The Indian manufacturing firms are facing competition from the imports as well as from the multinational companies, that is MNCs, in the domestic markets. Earlier, these firms segregated these two markets and served them with different quality products and different quality services also, compromising on the quality in the domestic market. Now, this is no longer possible. Therefore, many strategies that may have worked in the past are not likely to be successful now because the entire environment, that is macro environment of any organization, is changing. This macro environment is consist of various political factors, technological factors, then a number of competitive competitions are coming into the market and so on. And there is a drastic change in all these macro environmental factors. So political things are changing, then the technological things are changing, economical things are changing. So at present, the competition in terms of reduced cost, improved quality, high performance products, a wider product range, and better service, all delivered simultaneously. So in manufacturing, availability was one of the, if you know about order winner and order qualifier. So there were no competition in the market. So you can call that market as a monopoly market. So in that monopoly market, if a particular product is available in the market, then that particular product will be the order winner because the customers are not having any choice but they have to buy that product. Now, such uh, market is called as a monopoly market, and the winner was availability. So, whichever product is available, the customer will buy that product. Now, when the competition increases and n number of products are available now, maybe two product, four product, five products, similar products are available in the market. Then people were thinking about the cost factor. So, whichever product is offering the lowest cost, that was the order winner for that particular market. Now, after maybe a few years or a few months, suppose all the competitive products are offering same or similar type of cost, then what will matter? Then quality will matter. So those organizations or products who are offering uh, better quality, those will be order winner. So if we see these changes, then availability was the order winner, then low cost was the order winner. After that, better quality will be the order winner. After that, one theme started like after sale services. So all products are available, all products are in the low cost, all products are offering the better quality. Now those organizations which are uh, giving you the after sale services, those will be order winners. Then innovation is the new term. So those products or services which are slightly different or some unique having some unique features, those will win. So there is a competition in the market for giving something which is called as innovative products or services or something unique characteristics or features in the existing products. And in future, the trend will be inclined towards the customized products. So those organizations which will offer the customized products and services will definitely be order winners. So at present, we have just discussed that competition in terms of reduced cost, improved quality, high performance products, also a wider product range and better service, all delivered simultaneously. Traditionally, now Indian firms have followed an opportunistic approach to growth, as opposed to the competency-based approach that seeks to strengthen the key aspects of manufacturing. Consequently, these firms paid little attention to their factory floors. Of course, there have been some expectations or exceptions to this, and some of the firms have indeed built up their capabilities. Firms are also paying more attention to quality, but little to faster throughput and delivery. Wide products range and better service should be available. So there are no evidences to suggest that enough progress is taking place in this direction. Perhaps firms are struggling to improve their quality first and expect to take care of this issue later. Furthermore, the Indian market is also witnessing a quiet revolution where old products are being substituted by the better ones. For the first time, perhaps, the products and services are being introduced to meet the customer's needs. A practice not has been done earlier. Now, marketers, as everything is changing, the marketing approach is also changing. So earlier, the selling concept was there, where whatever the customers they need or they want. So organizations were not analyzing that, and they were manufacturing the products as per their choices, as per the organization's choices, or as per the experts' opinions. Now they are not keen to know that whether the products or specifications or services are really want by the customers or not. So this approach is called as the selling approach. But nowadays, um, from last 20 years, you can say the selling approach has been drastically shifted to a proper marketing approach, where the surveys has been taken places and the marketing research team is active. Now they keen to know what really customer wants, and now taking feedbacks from customers, taking inputs from customers, and accordingly they are now uh, manufacturing the products or adding features to the existing products as per the customer requirement, so that there is no gap in between what customer expects and what customer is delivering. So the trend of rapid introduction of new product is forcing manufacturing firms to profitably introduce larger variety in smaller volumes. Product life cycle is also shrinking. So earlier, a similar product was there in market for 4 years or 5 years. You can take example of Nokia phones. Suppose you must have heard about Nokia 3310 or 3315. N number of models are there. So I'll just take example of 3315. So same model was available in the market for, and successfully it was running successfully for 7 years. Now you can imagine in today's scenario if a product is launched by any organization or any mobile manufacturing company, let's say Nokia, Samsung, or Redmi and all. So can you imagine that the product is available for 7 years? So this is not the case now. They are launching a product and they are manufacturing the entire lot. And suppose in that particular lot they are manufacturing 1 lakh of the mobile phones, and in this next lot they will not repeat the model but they will do some modification, like note 4 is there, then note 5, then note 6, note 7. So next version is coming out. So a particular note 4, the product life cycle was only for 4 months or 6 months or maybe for 3 months, and in the next lot a new product is there. So this is called as a particular product's life cycle. So earlier the same model of Nokia was there for 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, but now the product life cycle is also shrinking. So now I will repeat again, the trend of rapid introduction of new product is forcing manufacturing firms to profitably produce a larger variety. So large variety and small volumes. Consequently, these firms have to search for new processes, new materials, new vendors, factory outlets, techniques for reducing the cycle time, then design and channels and etc. To deliver these products to the customer. Moreover, manufacturing firms are also being asked to integrate the services with products to meet the customer needs. So a pure product is also having some combination with services. So earlier we were thinking that you must have known about the product and service continuum. So suppose there are few products, they are tangibles. Okay, so those are product dominating. So there is less expectations of any service associated with that products, and few products or outputs are service dominating or intangible in nature, and we cannot expect any product associated with that service. So pure services. But nowadays these organizations are thinking, suppose a particular product is a pure product, like any two-wheeler you can say, it's a pure product. But some service should be also associated with that. So they are integrating products with services to meet the exact customer needs. So maybe some additional service features will be associated with that product. Thus, a real challenge facing Indian manufacturing is to improve substantially on several dimensions. These dimensions are quality, then technology, then shop floor practices, then the entire supply chain coordination, time to market simultaneously, and over a short period of time. Also, cash to cash conversion should be reduced for these effective supply chains. So, in short, we can say that Indian manufacturing sector is under pressure to demonstrate manufacturing excellence and to progress faster on the road of world-class manufacturing for sustained profitability and growth. Now we will move towards the next part, which is manufacturing performance and plan strategies of Indian manufacturing firms.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Sir, you said that nowadays, production companies are uh, producing varieties of, uh, products,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
In a very short period of time.
Yes.
Is this because of competitiveness?
Uh, First thing is it is because of competitiveness. Okay, that is okay. But more, I think that it is because of the customers are now getting more choosy, and they are having a variety of customers are there, and they are having different choices. Like earlier days, you are having only white color toothpaste. Okay, Colgate was only available in the market, and nothing was available. And today also, many of the generation, like my generation, also we are not saying that product as a toothpaste, but we are saying that product as a Colgate only, because only Colgate was available in the market. But now n number of competition products are available, like you are having Pepsodent and in close up also there, and n number of you are all having aware of these all products. And in Colgate also you are having variety, like namak wala Colgate and lime wala Colgate and charcoal wala Colgate, also Colgate with that similar to close up type of thing, like blue and gel wala Colgate, total Colgate. So such a type of varieties are available because the customers are more aware about the things, and because the customer need, and there is a gap always between the customer, what customer need and what customer are getting. So to minimize the gap, now these manufacturing firms are keen to know what exactly the problems of customers. Now few customers are having some dental issues, so Colgate like Sensodyne type of things or Colgate Total type of things are available. Few want bright teeth, so that Colgate whitening is available for us. So and a few want because of Patanjali, there is competition with some Ayurvedic ingredients. Okay, so people were switching to Patanjali and Dabur. So Colgate introduced Ved Shakti also. So why Colgate, normal Colgate is also playing the same role, okay? But because of the variety of customers and the demand of customers are getting variety, also competition is taking place, because the competitive organizations are doing some changes or innovations in their product. So suppose one company is launching something new, then maybe to give a competition to that particular company. Now your one A company is launched with a product, so B companies also now try to be innovative, and they should give something different, so that customer again will attract to them. Otherwise, they will lose in the market. So that is the only thing behind that.
No, sir.
Okay, just I want to see who are there. Ravi and Ruthvi. I will just make note down your attendance 1 second, because last time I have finished my lecture and I have missed a few students. So I will just mark the attendance and then I will continue. Rutvik, Raja, and Ravi. Okay, 1 second. Ravi is present. Raja is present. Samiksha is present. Okay, three students are present. Okay, now we will start the next part. After this, we are having a number of graphs for us. So, manufacturing performance and plant strategies of Indian manufacturing firms. So, aspiring to become Indian, 1 second, aspiring to become the world-class manufacturing organization is a common aim of many manufacturers. However, in recent research by authors, the name of author was Hansen in 1994. So he revealed that few manufacturers are achieving this status and many are failing to even start the race to improving their manufacturing practices and performances. For some manufacturers, this may be due to inertia, or more seriously, it may be due to lack of relevance and advice available on the means of steps required to attain the world-class manufacturing status. Now, according to few surveys conducted of the top executives and 56 manufacturing firms using the Manufacturing Futures and Survey Questionnaire. So this survey was done by Chandra and Sastry to assess the strategies being planned by Indian manufacturing firms to improve their competitiveness, the extent of performance improvement that have been taken place. So today, the Indian manufacturing firms are facing a very different competitive scenario as compared to the past scenario. They are facing competition from imports and multinational companies in domestic market. Several firms also have to compete with the new entrant in the global markets. The new competition in terms of world-class manufacturing quality products with higher performance, also reduced cost and with a wide range of products and all delivered simultaneously. It appears that manufacturing strategy of the most of the firms is focused on improving product and process quality. Also, they are focusing more on after-sale services and on-time delivering the products. However, the firms are currently giving a low priority to improvement in the required fundamental changes in the manufacturing changing processes. Capacity to rapidly change the product mix, then a new process, and in terms of manufacturing performance. The surveys that conducted have revealed that over the last past 2 years, there has been a marked improvement in the performance of the firms on the variety of factors such as productivity, then reduction in customer returns, then improvement in the first pass yield, and in the overall perception of quality by customers also. So other performance indicators that have improved are on-time delivery, then shop floor response to design changes, then reduction in manufacturing cycle times. So the real challenges for these Indian manufacturing companies therefore is to improve the existing manufacturing process and quality and technology for excellence. So surveys on world-class manufacturing readiness of the Indian firms. So as we have just discussed that the Chandra and Shastri have surveyed focused on the manufacturing strategies and performance improvements. And Sahai also conducted a survey of 83 manufacturing firms assess their world-class manufacturing readiness. This world-class manufacturing readiness factor that is called as WCMR for the Indian firms. Whereas there are several dimensions to this world-class manufacturing status, the focus of the survey was on assessing the world-class manufacturing readiness in terms of three attributes. First is manufacturing intent, then manufacturing practices, and third is supporting IT infrastructure. The reason for the choice of these three attributes is based on the simple logic that world-class manufacturing readiness depends on what the firms want to do, their intent. Okay, so firms intend what they want to do, whether they want to be a world class manufacturing player or they just concentrating on the short term type of thing, or maybe in the domestic market they want to play. And so, what is their intent? Then, what they are going with their practices, so how they are manufacturing the actual products, and what are they capable of doing their infrastructure. So what is their infrastructure and what is their support. Infrastructure includes the plant, then machineries and their processes all. So the Chandra and Shastri have made a comprehensive questionnaire that was designed for identifying the contingency structure and manufacturers' expectations from the IT-based system and the extent of usage and problems encountered for the people of the manufacturing industries and ways of the organization systems development efforts. The survey questionnaire was designed keeping in the view that the available previous questionnaire in consultation with the practicing managers and was validated with a sample survey. In addition with this questionnaire survey, personal visits to the organization were made to get the first-hand information. So the survey was analyzed to get the snapshot view of the information technology. Now, out of these 982 questions mailed to the chief executives and managing directors, now they have found that 83 responses were received on time, out of which 78 was usable, and remaining 5 responses were incomplete. So they are not considered for our result analysis. So we'll just see what they found. So profile of the responding companies. So the distribution of responding companies in terms of the region, then industry and size shows that a wide spectrum of industry activity were covered. So you can refer this table. So the respondents can therefore be viewed as a representative sample of Indian manufacturing industry. So in terms of regional distribution, the respondents were divided into uh, four regions. So except the East, 12% might be because the eastern regions were having fewer states and relatively less industry concentration. So the north 32%, south 27, and west 29%. The response were markedly better from the public limited companies, which constitute nearly about the 77%, and the sample followed by the private limited company were 13%, and the public sector organizations were 10%. So out of these 90% responses from the private and public limited companies, 17% responses were received from the multinational companies. Then the responding companies were distributed over a large number of sectors or industries, including steel, then engineering, automobile, petroleum, electronics, fertilizers, cement, chemicals, telecommunications, textile, consumer, agro industries, pharmaceuticals, and other. The engineering and automobiles were the biggest segment, so that contributes approximately 24.3 for engineering and 23.1% for the automobile. The combined turnover of the responding companies is rupees 90,551 crore rupees, and their industry size, now this is shown in figure. So industry-wise distribution was like this for this particular survey, and this figure indicates the public limited company response was 77%. Okay, so we'll talk about now manufacturing objectives and strategies. So manufacturing strategies concerned with the setting board practices and plans for using the production resources of the firm to best support the long-term business strategy. Respondents to this particular survey were asked to rate the strategic objectives of the manufacturing listed in the questionnaire of total 5-point scale. So with the score 1 indicating not important and 5 indicating very important. So the quality, delivery, inventory reduction, and capacity utilization were identified as most important objectives by the participants. Manufacturing lead time reduction and linking manufacturing and corporate strategy were considered slightly less important. So you can see in this particular figure. So volume mix and design flexibility necessary for the faster production development should be considered important objective in a competitive environment. Instead, flexibility was considered relatively less important by the participant. In the contrast, according to the International Manufacturing Surveys, linking manufacturing strategies to business strategy was on the top priority in the Western countries, while faster product development was on the top priority for the Japanese countries. So again, the high rating given to the capacity utilization should be a cause of worry for Indian managers with the global mindset. Under the concept of world-class manufacturing, capacity utilization is viewed as a function of current demand of company's products and not as the strategic objective. Now, usage of management tools and technologies. So, number of manufacturing management tools such as CAD, CAM that we have seen in the last lecture, and benchmarking, etc., are being used internationally. Respondents were asked to rate these tools on a 5-point scale in terms of their perceived usability, and accordingly, we are having the score rate. So, one of the tool uh, which made it well past the threshold means of 3 was the total quality management, or that is called as TQM. So TQM closely followed by the TPM, that is total productive maintenance. So interestingly, Indian managers seem to be very hesitant to admit that they were not aware of these same tools. Very few managers stick eye against these tools. Now, next is manufacturing management practices. So, a set of manufacturing management tasks listed in this particular figure was evaluated with respect to three aspects. That is important to top management in short term, then importance to the top management is long term concern consideration, and perceived usefulness of the computers for the particular task. Again, the 5-point scale were used for rating the importance and usefulness. Score 1 indicated not important or not useful, and the score 5 indicates very important or very useful. So the results should be interesting for IT managers who want to prioritize their spending due to the resource constraint. So an interesting finding was that the following tasks have the score more than 4 in all the three categories. So these tasks like working capital management, then quality assurance, production planning, material planning, purchasing, production, and finished goods distribution. So according to the Indian manufacturers and managers, so these criterias are having the importance. So product design is one of the tasks in which strategic use of IT has a major impact globally. In India, this task is not viewed as important. So in this list, we are not having the list of product design. Actually, it should be included as we are going for the world-class manufacturing. So the product design is not that much important. They are not keen for product design. So, as I told you, in India, this task is not viewed as important because very few companies have indigenous product development capabilities. So, we can just see this figure. Yes. Then 51% of the total respondents said that less than 25% of their product range was designed in-house. Only 8% of the companies went for in-house design for 51 to 75% of their total product range. More than one-fourth of the respondents stated that no effort was being made to boost the interaction between their design department and production engineering. This might indicate a poor practice of design for manufacturing. So, designing products that can be manufactured more easily. Indian production planners seem to bear the brunt of the dictum that a forest forecast is always wrong. So it seems that uh, to be varying the sales forecast frequently make it difficult to make the feasible plans. So just look at this figure. Some respondents said that this happened very often, and there are also some cases where it is happened almost always. So the problems of forecasting were probably compounded by the longer manufacturing cycles, which make it necessary to forecast for longer time horizons. So we are having the scale from never, rarely, frequently, very often, almost always, and no responses, and we are having the peak at it happens rarely and frequently. So lack of standards, then sales forecast and inventory data that has been forecasted, and factors creating the problems for production planning. So we have identified these problems here. So the other factors are commonly perceived as the cause of concern for the production planners, and invalid standards like bill of material and inventory data were not viewed as the serious problems. The biggest obstacles in achieving the production targets were a lack of timely supplies of materials from vendors and absenteeisms. So the other factors, equipment breakdown and power cuts, were the lesser problems. So power cuts were external variable which can only be controlled through the captive power generation facilities. The problems with the supplies reflect on Indian industry's weaknesses in purchasing management. Also in Japanese, we have seen the just-in-time concept that is very much effectively is implemented in Japan. So just-in-time concept more focus is giving more focus on less inventory or zero inventory. But because of n number of problems like purchasing problems, then uh, the process of purchasing that Indian manufacturing, most of the Indian manufacturing companies are owned by the owners, and they have to take some fixed procedures for purchasing, quotations, and the signature of the COs and all. So this problem is more. Also, the transportation problems, availability of the right suppliers, the commitment of suppliers. So this is the weakness. So the problem with the supplier reflects the Indian manufacturing companies in purchasing management. Less than half of the responding companies, like about 40%, had automated shop scheduling and loading systems. So yes, loading systems. Such systems, whether in-house or purchased, can greatly increase the productivity and effectiveness of the shop floor. So we have seen these figures. Now the next figure, yes, this graph shows that a number of companies that used various planning mechanisms. Okay, so shortage list, material required planning, and Kanban or pull system. Many companies reported that they use MRP, that is material requirement planning, in conjunction with the shortage list. This implies that the use of MRP had not been completely effective because MRP use should ideally eliminate the need of shortage list. We also found that many managers called their material requirement planning MRP, even if it was not a standard MRP procedure. So they are not following the standard MRP procedures, but whatever the procedures they are following, they are calling that procedure as the MRP procedure. So in summary, we can say that MRP was not found to be most common planning mechanism, but a shortage list continued to be used. A shortage list means they are not forecasting properly, and whatever shortage is there in their organization, they are just reordering those things. And there are two type of systems you must have aware about: pull system and push system. So while pull system were at the early stage of use, so can anybody elaborate the pull system and push system? If you are having any idea of push and pull, if no, then we can elaborate. Anyone? If you are having any idea about push system or pull system, the very famous push and pull system you must have learned in supply chain management. Okay, so if time permits, at the end of the lecture, I will explain push and pull system. The inventory figure shows in these figures like here the raw materials inventory held, then work in process inventory held, and finished goods inventory held. We will just see these figures one by one or graph one by one. So these inventory figures shown in these graphs are representative of the average of the respondents. So high capital cost notwithstanding. So Indian industry continue to operate in high inventory mode. So as I just explained, the Japanese concept that is zero inventory is not practically that much possible in India. So in India, not a single organization is implementing just-in-time concept successfully. Though more than 15 companies have had achieved more than 100 finished goods in inventory turns per year, many of them were dedicated ancillary units or companies that produced heavy equipments to order. Most of the respondents carried more than 3 days to finish their good inventory, more than 1 week of work in progress inventory, and more than 2 weeks of raw material inventory. Many respondents did not have the figures available on their work in process inventory. The pipeline inventory level varied across the industries and the respondents. It also depend on the size of the market served. Most of the respondents stated that their staff helped the vendors to improve their processes. Similarly, formal vendor rating system were used by the 4/5 of the respondents, where only 1/5 of the replied to that the company's materials were supplied directly to the shop floor without any inspection. So this is the scenario. So the horizontal axis for this particular figure is number of responding companies. So as you see how many companies responded here. So raw materials inventory held. So typically for large average is for 2 weeks to 1 week. So uh, up to 1 week is okay. So only 5 companies are holding up to 1 week. So we can see that just-in-time concept is only imaginary concept here. Also, work in progress inventory that is more than 1 month or 2 weeks to 1 month that is held by these organizations. So that is also not a good scenario. It is interesting to note that approximately 69% of the companies had break down their vendors' cost for important items, having the cost data implies a level of trust, and it is requisite of the joint cost reduction efforts, the benefits of which are shared by both the companies and vendor. The ultimate goal of the vendor development is realized when the vendors reaches a stage of zero defects in the quality of delivery. So can anybody just elaborate the concept of vendor development? Anyone? What is the concept of vendor development and why there should be vendor development?
Uh, to
Yes.
maintain the the stock of raw materials at the on time, and the main concern is maintaining the quality product from the vendors.
Okay. So vendor development actually it is the extended benefit of the supply chain management. Okay, vendor development. Okay, there are few PhD two students or researchers who are doing the PhD on the vendor development process. Uh, if you just see the world class manufacturing, that book, I will just tell you the name of the book. The title is World Class Manufacturing, and I have just read one case study in that particular book. So it was given a case study of Ford. Okay, so in US, the Ford company was taking raw materials from their vendor. Okay, so suppose they were taking the raw materials for a particular cost, and after that they were doing some changes on that raw material or some processes on that particular raw materials, and after that they were using those raw materials or improved raw materials for their manufacturing processes. Now one of the manager, they have the manager is having had the idea that why we are doing the rework on the raw materials. Instead, if we uh, just develop that vendor, vendor should be capable of doing the work, and we will directly purchase from that vendor. So it is a win-win situation. Our processing things and our land and our labor, the money, everything is not invested on conversion of raw materials into what we require, and entire thing will be done by that vendor. So he got that idea and he started implementing that idea with the concern of the top management, and it was successful. Now, in that particular case study, they have mentioned that the organization got profit of $2 million because of the vendor development process. So rework is reduced. They are getting the right quality of product in the short period, and their labor are utilized in another type of work. Their land and machineries also, they have reduced the usage. And for vendors, vendor are also getting to the next stage. They are not just delivering the raw materials. So what is the win situation for vendors? So vendors are having some improved knowledge, improved machineries, okay, and they are having the contract, let's say of 5 years or maybe a longer period for the food. So they are delivering these products or the sub-assemblies, you can say. The proper word will be sub-assembly. So they are delivering these sub-assemblies to the food. So vendor development is if you can say the effective increasing the effectiveness and efficiency of the existing supply chain. So these vendors are also your channel partners. So consider these vendors as your channel partners, as the partners of the supply chain. And if you are going to improve these vendors, then that will be beneficial to vendors also and to you also. So this is the concept of vendor development. And I'll just now elaborate the push and pull system. Okay, so what is the traditional process? Earlier, the process was like this. Suppose you want to manufacture something, so you just purchase the raw material, okay, from the vendors. Then after purchasing the raw material from the vendors, now you will manufacture the goods. After manufacturing the goods, you will sell those goods through wholesaler and retailers to the customer. Now this is the simple supply chain management. Okay, and the simple flow of material, raw material, then manufacturing and manufacturer to the wholesaler and retailers and to the customer. Okay, and customer will purchase those subject. Customers will purchase those products. Now this is the approach which is called as push approach. What is push approach? You are pushing the products and services to the market. Okay, you are pushing the products and services to the customers. Now what is wrong in this particular approach? You will say that nothing is wrong. Okay, you are purchasing raw materials, you are manufacturing, and you are giving to the customers. So what is wrong in this particular process? Now just I will elaborate the concept of pull approach. Now what is pull approach? Now pull approach starts with the customer. It is starting with the customer. Now whatever the customers order, first you have to analyze those order, or you have to take order from the customer. Maybe some token amount also you can take from the customer. And after getting the orders from the customer, now you are purchasing the raw materials. Okay, then you are manufacturing the products, and then you are delivering the product to the customer. This approach is calling pulling approach. Why? Because you are pulling the orders from the customer. Earlier, the approach was not like that. So this approach is called as, what is the difference between push approach and pull approach? And according to many experts and whatever results we are getting, this pull approach is better because you don't have to first forecast. Okay, but this push and pull approach is not applicable to all sectors. Okay, that one thing. But if your particular sector is okay with push and pull approach, and if that you have to do a trial and error, or you have to do the studies, and then only you can implement. So a pull approach, you are already having the customer orders. So if you are having the customer order, then manufacturing and delivering to the customer in the right time, then uh, your cash to cash conversion is reduced. The cycle time of cash to cash conversion is reduced. Now in the pull approach, this is the advantage. But in the push approach, if you are manufacturing, then you have to wait for customer to purchase the product. Now, if the customer is not purchasing the product, then you have to make efforts on advertisement and various marketing strategy to sell your product. Again, you are investing your extra efforts and money and manpower in that, and you are always having the tension whether your product is will get sold or not. Okay, so this approach is called as push approach. So each and every approach is having their merits and demerits, but if you are considering the effectiveness or efficiency of the entire supply chain management, then according to the opinion of experts, the pull approach is better. Hope you understood the push and pull approach.
Yes.
Okay. So, however, it is interesting to note that I have just explained that 69% of the companies had a breakdown to their vendors' cost for important items. Having the cost data implies a level of trust, and it is requisite for the joint cost reduction efforts, the benefits of which they are shared by both vendor and the company. The ultimate goal of vendor development is realized when the vendor reaches a stage of zero defects in terms of quality and delivery. This enables vendor to ship the materials or components directly to the buyer's shop floor, cutting out a lot of waste from the system. This stage had been reached by less than one-fourth of the responding companies. Though product quality improvement is stated to be most strategic objective in the manufacturing, and TQM is one of the most widely used management tools, it is ironic to see that the results of the quality movement uh, are only beginning to show on the shop floor. About 50% of the responding companies stated that they had defect rates before rework up to 1%. A major chunk of responding companies stated the defect rate of 1 to 3%, which 1 second, which was far above the global standard. So global standard is parts per ppm or defect rate is 0.0001%. So global standard is 0.0001%, and in Indian manufacturing company we are still struggling to 1% or 1 to 3%. So companies also reported defect rate sometimes it more than 5%. So the redeeming factors here was the profile of defect rate would probably have been much worse had a similar survey been carried out maybe 5 years ago. Also, on the positive side, 10 companies reported defect rates less than 0.1%. So, use of total productive maintenance has not resulted in world-class manufacturing practices. Perhaps in the case of quality, the need of significant improvement in the area has been felt only in last 5 years. Only one-third of the respondents have reported downtime percentage of less than 2%, unlike the zero effects or zero defects, which many experts agree is a long-term goal. Near zero downtime should definitely be achievable. Now, the figures was note that the respondents had switched predominantly cellular layouts. So there has been different type of layouts. So cellular layout is predominantly used in Indian manufacturing companies, which are generally considered one of the foundations for the world-class manufacturing in the discrete of the manufacturing sector. The remaining type of layouts were in keeping with the conventional trends. Generally speaking, the product layout are used when the scale of production favors dedicated to the production facilities. Then process layouts is in the case of batch production, and fixed layout is used in case of the heavy industries where the job does not move and the equipment is moved around. So I hope you just have aware about the. Uh, I'll just show you the various type of layouts. Are you familiar with the type of layouts? Various type of layouts, product layout, process layout, then fixed position layout and cellular layout. That is not there in my syllabus of world class manufacturing. I will just show you if I'm having this. Are you having any idea or some काय आठवतंय तुम्हाला such type of layouts are there? Product layout, process layout, cellular layouts. Anyone?
Can you show us once?
Just I'm trying to show you. Yes. One second. Please. There. Just have to check out in which PPT it is there. So I'll just open the book. My book is there on Operation Supply Chain Management. All type of layouts I have I think explaining unit number 2. Just a second. Huh? It's opening. Can you able to see the screen? Screen is visible. No?
Yes, sir.
Hello students, welcome to my next lecture. Can you Hello students, able to can you able to hear the audio of the YouTube video? Topic for today's session is process layout that is functional YouTube व्हिडिओचा आवाज येतोय तुम्हाला मी चालू करतोय तर layout. I Dr. Om Prabhakar Nawale welcome you all. Okay. This is online lecture series for the subject operations and supply chain management. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Learning objectives for today's sessions are to know the basic concepts of process layout and to understand the merits and demerits of process layout. We will start with process that is functional layout. Concept. In manufacturing, process layout is designed for the floor plan of a plant, which aims to improve efficiency by arranging equipment according to its function. The production line should ideally be designed to eliminate waste in material flow, inventory handling, and management. In process layout, that is in functional layout, the workstation and machinery are not arranged according to a particular production sequence. Instead, there is an assembly of similar operations or similar machinery in each department. For example, a drill department, a paint department, etc. Process layout is particularly useful where low volume of production is needed. If the products are not standardized, the functional layout is low desirable because it has greater functional flexibility than others. In this type of layout, the machines are not arranged according to the sequence of operation, but these are arranged according to the nature of the type of operation. This layout is commonly suitable for non-repetitive jobs. The process layout arranges workflow around the production process. All workers performing similar tasks are grouped together. Product pass from one workstation to another, but not necessarily to every workstation. For example, all grinding would be done in one area, all assembling in another area, and all inspection tasks in yet another area. The process layout is the best for firms that produces small number of wide of variety of products, typically using general purpose machines that can be changed rapidly to new operations for different product designs. For example, a manufacturer of custom machines would use a process layout. Same type of operation facilities is grouped together, such as lathes will be placed at one place, all the drill machines are at another place, and so on. See the next figure of functional layout, that is process layout. Here, the functions or functional carried out in the area according to the machine available in that area. So this is the typical example of process layout where there are sections like A, B, C, D, E, and F. In A section, suppose there are grinding machineries available. In B section, all the drilling type of machineries are available, and so on. Suppose in F section, all pen type of machineries are available. These are A, B, C, D, E, F are work centers. The line indicates, the small line indicates, according to the thickness, that low flow. 2. The thick line indicates very high flow between the machineries and workstation. So this is the example of process layout where the workstations are stationary and the product performing operations will flow from one center to another center according to the process of the product. Now we will see features of process layout. Requirement of a skilled labor force having the capacity to do a variety of operations on a particular machine. This is the feature of process layout. Frequent movement of inventories between operations and departments is another feature of process layout. Many orders in process at any time and extensive space of storage in departments for unprocessed inventory. These are the features of process layout. We will continue with the features. Sufficient storage space around the machines, high inventory of in-process materials, and lack of mechanical pacing of work. Much scheduling of and careful control of materials in process. General purpose materials handling equipment. These are the features of process layout. Now we will understand few of the advantages of process that is functional layout. Advantages of process that is functional layout. There will be less duplication of machinery. Thus total investment in equipment purchase will be reduced. It offers better and more efficient supervision through specialization at various levels and levels. There is greater flexibility in equipment and manpower, thus load distribution is easily controlled. Better utilization of equipment available is possible. Breakdown of equipment can easily handle by transferring work to another work machine or another workstation. there will be better control of complicated or precision processes, especially where much inspection is required. These are advantages of functional layout. Now we will see some demerits or limitations of functional layout. Limitations of functional, that is process layout. There are long material flow lines and hence the expensive handling is required. Total production cycle time is more owing to long distances and waiting at various points. Also, few of the bottlenecks also can be present. Since more work is in queue and waiting for further operations, hence bottlenecks occur. Generally, more floor area is required in case of process layout. Since work does not flow through definite lines, counting and scheduling is more tedious job. Specialization creates monotony and there will be difficult for the laid workers to find jobs in other industries. These are limitations of functional layout. Now we will see one diagram of process layout. The example of production of kitchen cabinets is given. Suppose there are two jobs, job X and job Y, and there are various workstations like receiving and raw material storage, then foundry. The third workstation is rough machine, followed by fabrication, painting, packaging and shipping. Also, there are other workstations like share and punch, finish machine, labor and assembly. Suppose there is job X. Now all these workstations are fixed and machineries are also fixed at their position. And job X, job Y, job Z, n number of jobs will be there. They will flow through n number of workstations. We will just take one example of job Y. Job Y will go through receiving and raw material storage first. Then after processing, this job will be transferred to foundry, then rough machine, then fabrication. After that, it will go through assembly, then painting, and after that, number seven, that is packaging and shipping. And after that, the finished good will be dispatched to the end customer. So job Y will flow through various departments. Similarly, take example of job X. Now job X will flow from number one, receiving and raw material storage, then number two, foundry. After that, number three, rough machine. Again from rough machine, that is section number three, it will again retransfer to foundry, that is section number two, at number four. After number four, job X, that is blue dot, will be transferred to fabrication. So there will be two type of fabrications, 5 and 6. Then the job is transferred to assembly, that is number 7, and after assembly it is transferred to packaging and shipping department and then to the next customer for dispatching. So this is the process layout where the workstation or machineries are fixed and jobs are moved from one workstation to another workstation according to the process that is needed. This is the book of Simba publication. You can read more in this book. Now we will see product layout.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot of fun.
Hello students, welcome to lecture number 21. Topic for today's session is product layout. I Dr. Rom Prabhakar Devale welcome you all. This is online lecture series. The subject operations and supply chain management. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Learning objectives for today's sessions are to know the basic concepts of product layout, to understand the merits and demerits of product layout. We will start with the concept of product layout. Product layout can be defined as an arrangement or a mechanism of various machines run to produce the final product in a prescribed order. Product layout has a structured arrangement of various machines that concentrate on producing a single kind of final product. Here, the output of one machine at one step will become the input for the another machine. machines are arranged according to the sequence of operations of the product. Then the layout is called as product type of layout. In this type of layout, only one product of one type of product is produced in an operating area. This product must be standardized and produced in large quantities in order to justify the product layout. In production, a product layout refers to a production system where the workstation and equipment are located along the line of production as with assembly line. Usually, work units are moved along a line that is not necessarily a geometric line but set of interconnected workstations. So, work units are moved along a line by a conveyor. Work is done in small amount of at each of the workstations on the line. To use the product layout, the total work to be performed must be divisible into small tasks that can be assigned to each of the workstations. Because the workstations each do small amount of work, the station utilizes specific techniques and equipment tailored to the individual job they are assigned. This can lead to a higher rate of production. Raw material is supplied at one end of the line and goes from one operation to the next quite rapidly with a minimum work in functional storage and material handling. The next figure in the PPT shows product layout for two types of products, that is for product A and product B. Just look at the figure. So this is a typical example of product layout. At the left hand side, we can see the input raw material. Concentrate on the above part, that is, output is product A, which we can see at the right hand side corner. So product A and product B are finished goods. Now just see the type of product layout. Raw materials at the upper corner, raw materials are input and there are n number of machines, that is, the raw material is undergone through turn, drill, mill, grind, assemble, clean, inspect and pack machineries and departments. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 type of different operations that are performed. So product is flowing from 1 to 8. So raw materials are in process. In between it is transformation is done and product A is the output. Similarly, in the low part you can see the finished good is product B. There are n number of raw materials, that is input to the process, and the processes are cast, grind, turn, drill, mill, paint, inspect and then pack. So this product B is undergone through various operations. So this is the typical example of product layout. Now we will see examples of product layout. The product layout examples are majorly manufacturing units and continuous processes. Certain industries such as sugar manufacturing, paper, cement are the best example of product layout. Also automobile industries, electronic appliances like printers, refrigerators were using these type of product layouts for manufacturing the products. Our daily needs like food, paper, etc. manufactured, which is the help of the product layout. The product layouts are preferably used for large-scale industries having continuous flow processes. Now we will see few features of the product layout. It involves huge equipment to produce the product. The machines available in the product layout are semi-scale type of machinery. Sophisticated machines are used here. The linear arrangement of product layout may be either paced or non-paced. Few more features of product layout are product layout requires huge amount of investment to purchase machinery at initial position. And the product layouts are required more physical work than that of technical skills. These are the features of product layout. Now we will see the advantages of product layout. Low total material handling cost. There is less work in process. Better utilization of men and machinery are possible in case of product layout. Less floor area is occupied by material in transit and for temporary storage inventory. Greater simplicity of production control can be achieved in product layout, and total production time is also minimized in case of product layout. These were the advantages of product layout. Now we will see some limitations or demerits of product layout. No flexibility, which is generally required, is obtained in this type of layout. The manufacturing cost increases with the fall in volume of production. If one or two lines are running light, there is considerable machine idleness. A single machine breakdown may shut down the whole production line, and specialized and strict supervision is essential for the product layout. This is the typical example. Another example of product layout. We can see three important sections that are colored in pink, violet, and green. There are various workstations like receiving and storage department, inspection section, and materials and components are undergone through workstation 2, 3, and 4. At assembly feeder, there is a storage department and the workstations are 6, 7, and 8. After that, there is oven department and 9, 10, and 11 are workstations. And at workstation number 10, workstation number 12, storage and shipping department is there. So this is the example of product layout. This is the book of Simba publication, Operations and Supply Chain Management. So there are a number of videos, like 8 to 10 minutes videos. So if you want to know about the fixed layout, cellular layout, combination type of layout, the distinguish between product layout and service layout, you can subscribe my channel. Dr. Rohan Deval, you can type on Google or on YouTube, and you will get my channel on the in that particular channel. If you are more interested in operations type of thing, so last world class manufacturing lecture that I have conducted for you, if you have missed, then I have uploaded that lecture also. Also, if you are interested in service operations in service sector, then in playlist you can find out various videos like uh, yes, service operations management, operations and supply chain management. Also, another videos are there, so you can find these videos on my channel. One more student, I think, entered, Mayur Kadam. I will just note down the attendance, then we will continue. Mayur Kadam. Okay, so we'll go back to our surveys. So setup or changeover time is the key of lean production in any plant that possesses multiple materials on the same equipment. Larger setup time force longer production runs and result in larger inventories. So larger cycle and slow responses to the market. So this was the realization that led to development of or development to the development of SMED concept. So SMED concept was first introduced by Shiego Shingo that we have discussed in my last lecture. So SMED refers to set up the times in single minutes, that is less than 10 minutes. So the concept was not restricted to press shop. Only two responding companies had reached this stage, while total 11 companies were close to it. So they constituted about 15% of the total sample survey. Now we will go to the next part, that is IT infrastructure and practices. So IT applications have by now entered almost all the companies, but in mostly in an uncoordinated way, without long-term integration plans and automation strategies. Individual departments introduce computers and purchased or developed software to support their own departmental operations. This fragmented approach divided a company into small and almost autonomous enterprises, each using a computer to make the department and its associated activities work more efficiently. Thus, many departments acquired computers, developed and installed computerized systems. As a result of the enterprises consisted of many islands of automation, it soon became clear that that the smoother transfer of information between the enterprise activities and even within departments was a burden, if at all possible. Consequently, the first move towards the integration was made to study the possibilities between the functions through the networking and data sharing. Now, this particular figure, department-wise extent of computerization. So this particular figure shows that number of companies which had a computerized and networked department. Ironically, the India's manufacturing industry, the departments that have been computerized to the greatest extent are finance and accounts department, along with the stores and purchasing vendor department. This reflects a transaction processing mentality. So design or engineering, production planning and control, that is PPC, also production, quality assurance, quality control, that is QA and QC, are in the second tier, while marketing, distribution, HRM, and the project form the rear. Interestingly, this pattern has no correlation with the perceived importance and the usefulness of computers in managerial tasks. So, also evident from this particular figure that the fact that many investment have been made in IT without reaping any benefits through the networking. Now, the next figure, this figure 19 and 20. So, extent to use the office automation softwares and extent of use of manufacturing softwares. So this figure shows number of companies that used certain categories of uh, software applications. So office automation software, which is used for information integration or information management, dominates the manufacturing softwares. So in the office automation area, presentation packages were the least used, with total 67% of the companies using them. In case of manufacturing software, the application with the largest base were materials accounting and computer-aided design and drafting. Both these applications were approximately 58% to 59% respondents, respectively. So MRP2 and ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning, were used by 20% of the companies. The manufacturing applications with the smallest waste was simulation, which is widely used internationally. So this shows the comparison between the Indian manufacturing and the multinational companies or international manufacturing companies. So we can say that MRP2 produces feasible production plans to help stabilize the control manufacturing system. ERP is concerned with making sure that the firm's manufacturing decisions are not made without taking into account their impact on the supply chain, both upstream and downstream. Taken further, the production decisions are affected by the effect of all the major areas in the business, that includes engineering, accounting, and marketing, to make better decisions. There is also need to taken into account all the department interactions within a business. Enterprise resource planning (ERP) software is the medium for accompanying the integration of decision-making process. So, for a smooth decision-making process and to have available data and information to all the managers for the improved decision making. So ERP, that is smooth data handling and the data exchanging should be there. Since nearly every department in a company could be computerized, ERP software can link and coordinate all these computerized functions and make them talk literally digitally talk with each other. So groupware refers to the software designed to help the business teams work together across the locations. It coordinates schedules, managers, and workflow among the group members and usually includes modules for group analysis and decision making, as well as the group document preparation. Similarly, an intranet, which is an internet-based network within the organization, that is called as intranet, so deals with the managerial opinion on the two related trends that are making waves globally today. Groupware and intranets helps companies to combine the use of database and electronic messages, that is emails, when results in the date of the distance as far as information sharing is concerned. Information may be simultaneously made available to managers located on different locations. Interestingly, a number that is less than 10 of each of the responding companies had already used the intranets or the groupware. Intranets had the slight edge here, so a number of companies, approximately 25 companies, were considered both the applications. An equal a large number had not considered them yet. So interest in these developments seems to be at threshold level. So I will just see few students I think are coming. So I'm just marking the attendance, but next time just make sure that you are on time. Okay, 1 second. I will just mark and then we'll proceed further. There is no name of Rishabh Verma. He joined, but I don't find I'm not finding it. Rishabh Verma, your name is not there in the attendance list.
Sir, I'm student of operations. Must be some mistake in the list. I'm from MBA General.
Yes, MP General only. We are having the students Ravi Rishabh Verma. I will just add the name in the last.
Yes, yes. No, no, sir, it is confirmed. My name should be there in that list. And I'm sorry that I joined late. Actually, I had some work, so I couldn't join it earlier.
No, it's okay.
And from next time onwards, it won't happen.
No, it's okay, Rishabh. Just tell if you possible to Vijay ma'am that uh, your name was not there in the list because
Sure, sir.
she gave me this list. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'll inform her.
Okay, so we'll see now next two figures. So present status of ERP and selection factors of ERP here. So all these figures like 22, then 23. I will just email you all these PPTs so you can refer later on. So perceived benefits of ERP, then problems encountered in implementation of ERP. So all these 22 to 25 provides interesting insights into the nature and causes of the implementation of ERP software in Indian manufacturing industry. Interest in ERP has crossed the threshold level, so with about 25% of the responding companies stating that they were evaluating the available ERP packages, and about 20% of the stating that the selection process has been completed or the implementation was in process. So 13% of the responding companies had considered and rejected the ERP. About 31% of the respondents had not considered it yet and not aware about the ERP softwares. From from those responding companies that had gained some of the exposure to ERP, the following trends that can be emerged. Okay, I'm having the loss of electricity at my home, so I will just continue till the electricity is there and my backup is there. Okay, and I will upload the lecture on YouTube, and I will share the link to one of the students, so you can uh, then watch that video later on. So the following trends are emerging now, that the deciding factors for selection of package was its functionality. So the recommendation of the parent companies was the deciding factors in some of the cases. Bad news for those who position ERP software as a template for re-engineering was that the major benefits from ERP was perceived to be integration of different departments and each access to the data. So fundamental improvements through re-engineering and streamlining the processes of manufacturing was a distant second. Lack of fit of existing processes with features provided by the packages and lack of availability of personnel and implementation and use of this package were the biggest problems for those going in the ERP implementation. So we'll just see the figure 26. So this particular figure shows the extent use of electronic interchange of data across all the departments within the companies. As shown in the figure, the use of electronic link is gaining ground, with more than half of the respondents of the companies reporting it used between the stores and purchase only. So electronic links between stores and production planning and control and production planning and control were also quite widely used. Such electronic links could be made possible due to increasing interdepartmental connectivity and use of ERP type or groupware type of software packages. So we have seen these figures now. So the previous section that we have discussed gives a summary of the particular survey. The figures that we have seen given were presented the snapshot of the industry in a stage of transition, operating in one of the big emerging markets of the world, India. In addition, these findings also raise some important research issues that have been addressed briefly in the subsection that follows. So these issues are the one second, I will just see. Yes. Yes, these issues are the stated manufacturing objectives of Indian organization through the international trends, then breadth of the IT infrastructure with respect to the depth of the IT use of manufacturing, then the effectiveness of use of IT in integrating the components of the manufacturing systems, and breadth versus extent of integration of the IT infrastructure. So the next part we will continue now and then we will stop. That is the manufacturing strategic intent framework. So in order to compare the manufacturing objectives of the participant organization with those of world-class manufacturing, we propose two-way classification called as manufacturing strategic intent. So man C, that is grid. So this compares the manufacturing objective on two dimensions: to be an agile manufacturer or to be conventional manufacturing, that is stating capacity utilization. So this classification has two inherent assumptions. That is, first assumption is the stated objective of the respondents were actually the strategic objectives of the responding companies, and the practices of the responding companies reflect their stated objectives. So, in the next lecture, we will complete this manufacturing strategic intent framework. Also, we'll see the classification places manufacturing into one of the following four types. So these four types will explain. So this is the figure of Mansi classification of the responding companies. Then we'll see the strategic use of Indian manufacturing companies. What is the position of Indian manufacturing companies? The usage of this strategic use. Then this figure that we have elaborated in the previous class, if you remember. If not, then you can go on the YouTube video and you will find that in world class manufacturing lecture number 1, this figure I have explained. Again, we will just have a recap of this figure, that in the context of usage of IT in Indian manufacturing, it is architecture of information system. Then this is important, that classification by breadth of IT infrastructure and depth of manufacturing applications. So on two quadrants, that is benefit of IT infrastructure and depth in manufacturing, whether it is high or low.